100%. It's beautiful being an artist, but it also gets tricky sometimes, right? I have a very distinct memory of one of the first times I got paid to perform. And it was at an arts event, and it was in a room maybe a little bit smaller than this, and there was just a bunch of people, and so I came in and I sat and I listened to this other speakers that they weren't performers, but they were speaking about art and things like that, and it was cool. I was nervous, obviously, and then it was my turn, and then I got up and I performed, and I felt like a painting on a wall that nobody understood, but they just walk by and like comment on it in the most pretentious ways because it's art and you're supposed to understand it because you're deep, right? And I never get over that because I didn't feel like that was a space for performance. I didn't feel like anybody could have made it a space for performance, but we go in and we kind of do the dance, right? For the check or for the exposure. So I wrote this poem, not in response to it. I feel like it was, the statute of limitations passed for me to actually be responding to it. But when I wrote this poem, it kind of just synced itself to that memory. And so this piece is called Tiny Dancer. And when I say dance, I mean, tap dancing for the man. When they asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, dancer never cued in my mouth. Even if I knew my options, I never would have chosen something so moving. Trauma bound my feet. Weightless dreams met cinder-blocked realities, and probabilities devoured any brainchild my thoughts could birth before my creative womb even formed. I don't dance. Too much movement begat displacement, and I hated being shaken, physically, emotionally, unopen to the propensity for falling that jumping yields. But all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely moving pieces, shadow-boxed, mounted on the edge of revolving realities. I had been beating myself up over standards I didn't set. Heart lifted to the hands that compensate the gifted, it made me want to dance. I've harped on well done, prompted by back pats that set stages for strings to later be pulled by the Geppetto behind the curtain, up in the skybox looking down for my consideration. The American dream turned out to be a mental illness disguised as sure-footed. Failure is the only building block that lets you know exactly where you stand. I stand. Even with the winds against me, windbreaker to break the push and the pull that tempts me to dance. But all the world's a stage. And all the days merely layers. I longed to be player, new to the game, willing to battle royale for the cause, battle scars. Because if the cause of death is purpose, it will always be worth it, right? They filled rooms with dead presidents, cleared rooms on boardroom tables for us to dance. Stripped down to my dreams, made to twirl in the presence of chances to be somebody. I decided that I wanted to be somebody, but not at the cost of my dignity. Meanwhile, influences prompted me to dig my feet into the soil of the ground they wanted to keep me on. Groundskeeper filling and tilling while weed killer seeped into my soul, poisoning the hole where God planted seeds. All the world's a stage. But a room with too many stars leaves no room for applause. Too many gifts, too many scars, too many kings, too many variations of good enough and good for nothing, vying for the throne of my thoughts. And anything by nothing is scrambling for what it once was. I mean, me times zero is a shell of who I used to be. I said I can't multiply by nothing to get something, but I can add my 100% to the fractions I was given and give it back to Abba. No dancing queen, my father spoke into the void. So why should I fear empty? Empty thoughts yield space for dreaming. Empty hearts leave room for breathing. And even when my hopes set across the sky of another evening, I won't dance for you. All the world's a stage. And the dollar has its string, but my soul has no price, even when my gifts purchase my things. Thank you. Thank you.